Hi guys, my name is Sahaana and my name is Abhi. Welcome to Brown and Lovely, where you can tune in to learn more about makeup products that are brown girl friendly, skincare, as well as just embracing the Indian culture when you don't live in India.
Today we're going to show you an everyday makeup look that can work for office, school, just your day out. And since we both have slightly different styles and we focus on different things, we're going to show you two different versions of the look. So it's Abhi's look and then my look. So keep watching.
Okay, so I already have on moisturizer and my SPF, which is very important to prep your skin before you start your makeup. The first thing I'm going to do is use my lip balm, so by the time I'm done with the makeup, it's ready for lipstick. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do after is use my Shape Tape to conceal under my eyes as well as any blemishes on my face. So the Shape Tape is by Tarte and my shade is medium tan golden. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that and apply that directly under my eyes, like so, top, and anywhere else that I think I want to cover up. Now you could use a beauty blender to like blend this out, but personally I like to use my fingers. I think it works best. So I'm just gonna pat this in. Also remember to always use your ring finger when you apply makeup on your face, especially around the eye area, because that area is very delicate, so you want to be careful. You don't have to apply too much pressure. Okay, so you can see that it already makes such a huge difference. Definitely add more or add less as you like. So because this is an everyday look, I don't use foundation on an everyday basis. So instead of that, what I'm going to do is just set whatever I already have on my face using the Morphe Filter Effect powder. So I'm in the shade 7. This works really well. It's super natural and I also like how it lasts basically all day. So we're just gonna go over very simple motion. Don't forget to blend this into your neck as well. Okay, so now that we have our base, I'm gonna do my blush. Today I'm using the Maybelline FitMe in number 30. So very nice peachy pink. You can just use one of your fluffy brushes and go just over the apples of your cheek. I personally also like to add a little bit to like the tip of my nose. I think it looks very nice and like natural when you like finish your look. Okay. So the next step is contouring your face. I'm using the Hoola Benefit and I'm not sure if this has a shade. So we're just gonna take a little bit of that and we're gonna go over this area here and just around the jawline. So I'm just gonna keep it very, very subtle. And underneath the jawline. Now I also like to bring that in over the forehead, kind of around where your hairline is. So that gives it a nice bronzy effect. Okay. So the next step is eyebrows. So I use the Dipbrow Pommade in the shade Granite by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm also going to be using the brush that comes with it, which is really, really good to put it on. Just a little bit. So I like to use the spoolie part of the brush to first brush out the eyebrow so you know exactly where you're filling it in. And you want to start with very little product towards the starting, and then you can build up as you reach the end. So we're gonna just follow the natural shape of your eyebrows and just go along with that, and we're gonna keep blending. So once you have laid out the natural shape and follow the arch of your eyebrows, you're gonna use the back part and just brush this product along. So this way it's very natural and really, really easy. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so eyebrows are done. The next step is eyeshadow. I like my eyeshadow to be very simple, very matte. That's usually what I go for. The palette I use is from Anastasia Beverly Hills also, and this is the Soft Glam palette. It's really nice and it has a lot of different shade options that range from matte to glowy to shimmer, so it's very versatile. So I'm gonna use a small brush and I'm gonna go with the color Orange Soda, and we're gonna put this all over the lid. Just a swiping motion, and it's very pigmented, so you don't have to I rarely use a primer, so this goes on very well. And I'm gonna do the other side. Okay. So now I'm gonna use a slightly more fluffier brush, and I'm gonna go with the shade Burnt Orange, which is slightly a dark rusty orange. So we're gonna take a little bit of that, tap off the excess, and put that along the crease of your your eyelid. So that's gonna go from this part in the corner, and just swipe it and bring it slowly inwards. But you still want to keep it very subtle because, like I said, this is just an everyday simple look, so you don't want to do too much of a smoky effect. And you just want to keep blending until it blends with the orange soda that we had on first. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm gonna go with a slightly more fluffier brush, and I'm gonna use the shade Sienna, which is a little dark, and we're just gonna pat this on the very outside, that very outer corner, and make sure again it's blended well. So now I'm gonna go with a slightly more tapered brush, and we're gonna do the inner corner so that you look more awake. Everything just comes together, and I like to use the shade Tempera for that, which is a very light beige whitish color. So that's gonna go in the very inner corner of your eye, and then you just make sure that you blend it with the rest of your eyeshadow. So don't forget to make sure that everything is properly blended, and there should be a nice gradient between the two colors that we used. Okay, so now that we're done with eyeshadow, I'm gonna use my eyeliner to kind of just go over the lid. So I'm gonna use the Tattoo Liner by Kat Von D, and we're gonna do a very easy, simple stroke, and just nothing too fancy. So we're gonna just start from the mid, and then I like to just go towards the end, and then I'll connect it from the starting. So I'm trying to stay as close as possible to my eyelashes and just do small strokes so that it's easier. So we're just gonna do the same thing on the other eye as well. Just start from the middle and use small strokes. Okay, so the next step is mascara. I'm gonna use this one called Pretty Vulgar, and it's just use whatever you have. Okay. So we're just gonna use a fanning motion and go over our eyelashes. Okay. So I usually skip the lower lashes because I personally don't like it, but if you want to go for it, you can do that too. And yeah, the last step is lipstick. So today I'm using the Huda Beauty Liquid Matte in Spice Girl, which is definitely my favorite lipstick of all time. It lasts all day. It's also a very nice color for basically like the entire year. So I'm gonna just So yeah, you just want to follow the natural, shape of your lips and just go over it. As easy as that. Yeah, that is my everyday look.
So I like to start off with my eyes just in case I mess up something, then I can wipe it off and then my foundation will look a lot cleaner afterwards. And I'm gonna start off with an eye primer. I'm using the Nars one today, a medium dark. So primer, it just depends on your skin, if it's necessary or not. A lot of people don't use it at all. For me, my eyelids tend to get a little oily, and so if I don't use it, I can tell throughout the day my eyeshadow kind of just disappears and like wipes off. So I use it on an everyday basis, but doesn't mean you have to. It kind of just depends on your skin. And I am using the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette today. And this is sort of my everyday go-to palette. It has a lot of other colors that I don't usually use on an everyday basis, but it also has a lot of nice neutrals and gold bronzy tones that works really nice for brown skin. So I'm starting off with Puree, which is a matte, sort of close to my skin tone shade. And I put this all over my base with a flat brush. And I do this again because it helps set the primer, especially if you have oily eyelids like I do. This can help eyeshadow stay throughout the day. And then I'm gonna go into the crease on the opposite side of this brush, which is a little fluffier and it's more of like a blending brush side. And I'm gonna use the color Charmed, I'm sure. So this is just like a darker brown, and so I like to do that in the crease. It doesn't give it like a full-on smoky effect, but it gives it just enough so that there's more dimension to your shadow. Now I'm gonna use a fluffy flat brush for the base color, and I like using Caramelized. It's more of a metallic shade, and I tend to use more metallic shades for my eyeshadow. If you have brown skin or like darker Indian tones, this is a really nice skin tone. This is a really nice shade to use because it's just like a metallic version of your skin tone, if that makes sense. So as you can see, even though this is like more of a shimmery metallic shade, it definitely doesn't look like you're going to a party or something. It can be used on an everyday basis. And then last thing, I'm gonna use a slightly darker, kind of like a plum brown color called Peach Pit. And just a little bit in a really fluffy blending brush just for the outer crease. And now I'm just going to clean up everything. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and use my foundation. I use the Nars Sheer Glow Foundation, which I think of all the foundations I've ever tried, this is easily the best one. So I just do one pump and kind of put a bunch of spots all over my face. And I'm gonna use this flat foundation brush to blend it out. So I usually use a beauty blender. I prefer a beauty blender. I just think it's faster and easier and it does the job really nicely. But my dog literally shredded my beauty blender, so I'm out of a beauty blender right now. And I'm doing just looking into whether I really want to get the Beauty Blender Company version again, or if I want to look into if there's anything else new out there. So this I'm just going in circles and blending it in. And I carry it down to my neck and also a little bit into my ears area, just so that it doesn't look like there's like a harsh line between where my foundation ends. On a daily basis when I go to work, I usually use the foundation, and the reason I do that is because I have a really long commute to work and I spend a lot of time at work, so from the time I leave my house to the time I get back home, it's probably like a full 12 hours, and then if I don't use something that's more heavy coverage towards the end of the day, I can see my makeup sort of just wearing out, and I don't like that. I like it to look more polished from start to finish, and so that's why I go for something more heavy coverage when I know I'm gonna be out for like long periods of time. So next I'm gonna do my concealer, and I use the Tarte Shape Tape, and I use the shade Medium Tan Neutral. I'm just gonna go in the under eye area to cover up any dark circles. And I use a mini beauty blender to do this. I just do a lot of quick motions to blend it out. And it's really easy with the beauty blender. It is super fast and it does a good job of blurring the line between where the foundation is and where your concealer is. If you have spots on your face, like dark spots or anything else you want to cover up a little extra beyond the foundation, then you can definitely use concealer for that too. So now that the weather's getting a little cooler, I don't really need to do this, but if it's in the summer and I know my face is gonna get really oily and my concealer might start creasing up, then I'll use a setting powder underneath. I'm not going to do it right now, but if you tend to have more oily skin, especially in your under eye, then I would recommend using like a translucent powder and just doing a light setting right underneath where your concealer is. So now I'm gonna do my contouring. I like to start off with my bronzer first, so I'm using Hoola by Benefit. And I used to do the whole fish face thing. I feel like it's really dramatic for an everyday look, so I don't do that anymore. I kind of just go into where my cheeks are defined. And I feel like the whole fish face thing, it's not like a rule of thumb that works for every face shape. And you know, depending on your face shape, you're actually supposed to do your contouring slightly differently. And I don't know exactly how you're supposed to do it for each face shape. I've just sort of figured out that like for my face shape, I just do it a little bit here by my cheekbones, a little underneath by my jawlines, and then a little bit by my temples. But I think if you look it up, you can find a lot of like different face maps for your specific face shape. Next I'm gonna do just a little bit of highlighter. I don't want to do too much because this is like an everyday office type of thing. And I'm going to use a fan brush and just lightly get some on. And I'm using the Ofra highlighter in Rodeo Drive, so this is something that came in my Ipsy bag. Just really fast, quick movements with the fan brush. And at this point, I actually always use my highlighter to do my inner corner. So I'm using this small detail brush. I'm just gonna grab a little bit and put it in the inner corner of my eyes. And then I'm gonna use brush. This is also by Ofra, and it's the Madison Miller Sweet Stuff blush. And this also just came in my Ipsy bag. I'm using a fluffy round brush for this. And again, the whole face map thing applies for blush too. I think for my face type, I do it directly on the apples of my cheeks, but I know if you have like sharper cheekbones already, they recommend doing it straight across like this. Okay, so I'm gonna do my eyeliner now. I use the Kat Von D tattoo liner, which is like a liquid liner. It's like a pen. And so what I do is I like the wings to be sort of like this angle right here, where you can see your nose to your eyebrow, and that's like where I like the wing to be. So I'll draw both wings first. And this also gives me a chance to check if my wing is even, which it almost never is, without a lot of adjusting. I'm gonna just try to work with this. So next I'm gonna do mascara. I'm using the Milk Makeup Kush waterproof mascara. I like it. It doesn't make your lashes too long or too much volume that it doesn't look natural. So finally, I'm just gonna finish off with lipstick. And I'm gonna use the Marc Jacobs Mahogany, which is like a nice nude brown. Because it's creamy and not matte, it's not as long lasting as some of my liquid lipsticks, but I like that it feels really nice and it doesn't feel drying, and so if I'm gonna wear it throughout the day, then it's more comfortable wearing something like this than wearing something that's gonna last me the full, 12 hours, but then by the end your lips just feel like they're cracked. Again, I'm gonna fix what I just did. So that's it, that's my go-to makeup look.
So I really hope you guys enjoyed our looks, and this is what I would wear to work every day, and it's so easy. I can literally do this in like less than 10 minutes. Some other things I would add on to like just change up the look on an everyday basis based on my outfit, I guess how I'm feeling and things like that. Sometimes I like to line the waterline, just go using one of those eyeliner pencils. So here I have the one from Sephora. This is really nice. It also lasts all day. So you can just very slowly just line the waterline. It's pretty self-explanatory. And some days I also like to change up my lipstick. If I was doing a more subtle eye look, and if I was not doing eyeliner, then I like to wear like a darker lip. Another favorite of mine is the Too Faced Melted Matte in Naughty by Nature. This is a very nice brown, so since fall is coming, I recommend you guys pick this up.
Yeah, and I totally agree with both of those. If I know that I'm gonna do a bolder lip look, then I try to keep the eyes at like a minimum so I don't go for the waterline. And even on like a look like this, I don't go for the waterline just because there's a lot of heavy eyeshadow. But otherwise, if everything else looks pretty simple, then I do like to go in with the bottom liner. And then same thing with the lipsticks. Actually today I was planning on using a darker lip color. I was gonna use Killing It by Tarte, and it's more of like a brick red type of color, and that is really my go-to color. But as I started doing my makeup, I feel like my eyes were getting very bold, and on like a typical day to work, I wouldn't be wearing really bold lipstick and really bold eye makeup, so then I just switched it last minute. But that's the type of change that I would make depending on, you know, what I'm gonna focus on, just for it not to be too extra for just like an everyday look. And then just a couple of other things. If I don't want to go for full coverage foundation, I'll sometimes use like a tinted moisturizer. The Laura Mercier is a good one, and it just feels a lot lighter. Or I'll do what Albie did and I'll use like a powder foundation instead. And finally, if I know that I'm going to be out for a really long time, then I'll use a setting spray. One that I really like is the Urban Decay All Nighter, and it actually really makes a difference on when I use the spray and when I don't. Just like my makeup just lasts longer and it doesn't wear out throughout the end of the day. But I think it's a little unnecessary to use on an everyday basis. But if you know that you need it to last a long time, then yeah, something like setting spray definitely does help.
Alright, that's it you guys. Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more.
And you can also follow us on Instagram at the Brown and Lovely blog, and we post just everyday tips and tricks and stories that go on, and so we have exclusive content on that.
So yeah, we'll have the handle in the description box below.
Kitsch, kitsch, en brother, get the wine, en brother, bet you every woman